Ryan was 18 years old when he got his first real paycheck, $347 after tax. 2 weeks of stocking shelves at a grocery store. He stood at the ATM looking at that number, feeling something he had never felt before. Not rich, just in control. His money, nobody else's. He spent $340 of it in 4 days. New shoes, a night out, a jacket he told himself he deserved. By Thursday, he had $7 left and 2 weeks until next payday. That feeling, money disappearing before he could do anything real with it, would follow Ryan until he finally learned the one thing nobody had taught him. There is a sequence to building wealth, an order. Miss one step or hit it at the wrong time and nothing holds. Follow it correctly, and each layer becomes the foundation for the next. This is Ryan's sequence, and the specific numbers, accounts, and ETFs he used at every single stage. My name is Marcus. If you have ever felt like money disappears faster than it arrives, this is for you. Subscribe and give this a thumbs up. Let's walk through it. Age 18 to 22, the foundation. After losing that first paycheck in 4 days, Ryan made one decision. He opened a second bank account. Not for spending, not for bills, just for saving. Every single payday before he bought anything, he moved 10% of whatever came in into that account and pretended it did not exist. First month, $34 saved. Second month, $41. Month 6, $247 untouched. Then his phone broke. Instead of putting $247 on a credit card, he opened that account and paid cash. That moment changed something permanently. The $247 was not a number anymore. It was proof. By 22, Ryan had $1,784 in a high-yield savings account, HYSA, earning 4.5% annually. Not invested yet, just sitting, earning, protected. The math. $34 a month into HYSA, 4.5% annual return, 4 years equals $1,784 total. $1,632 in contributions, $152 in interest earned. Small, but a foundation does not need to look impressive. That is not what foundations are for. What Ryan built between 18 and 22 was not just money. It was identity. He became the person who saves first, who delays the show and builds the system. That identity was worth more than any specific dollar amount. Age 22 to 28. Eliminate debt. Build the button. At 22, Ryan got his first full-time job, $38,000 a year. He felt like he had made it. That dangerous feeling of finally having enough is exactly where most people make the mistake that costs them the entire decade. Ryan made it too. He got a credit card. Just for emergencies, he told himself. He moved into a slightly nicer apartment, just because he could afford it now. He upgraded his car. Nothing crazy, just something that didn't embarrass him. And by 24, he had $6,200 in credit card debt at 22% interest, and a savings account that had somehow gone backwards from where it was at 22. He remembers sitting at his kitchen table one evening, adding up everything he owed. The shame he felt had nothing to do with intelligence. He was just unequipped. Nobody had shown him the sequence, so he built it himself. He committed 20% of every paycheck to eliminating the credit card. Not the minimum, 20%. It hurt every single month. But within 14 months, the card was cleared. He cut it up, physically cut it into pieces over his kitchen sink. And the feeling of that, the specific lightness of owing nothing on that account, was something he had not expected to be so powerful. With the debt gone, he redirected that 20% into 2 places. 10% into his first real investment, SCHD, Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. Expense ratio 0.06%. Companies with 10-year dividend histories, strong cash flows, recession-resistant businesses that pay him every single quarter. 10% into his buffer account. Not savings, buffer. 4 months of living expenses. The difference between having options and having none. The math at age 28. SCHD contributions. $200 a month for 6 years. Average return, 11%. Portfolio value, $20,269. Dividends reinvested the entire time, $5,869 in additional shares purchased automatically. By 28, Ryan had no credit card debt, a fully funded buffer, and a small but real investment portfolio quietly compounding. For the first time since he was 18, he did not feel one emergency away from disaster. He felt like he had options. And in your late 20s, options are worth more than almost anything money can buy. Age 28 to 35. Build something that belongs to you. At 29, Ryan started thinking in decades instead of months. His income had grown to $58,000. Buffer solid. SCHD compounding. And every month he watched his rent money disappear into someone else's equity and felt a specific frustration he could not ignore. He started saving for a property. 20% of income into a dedicated account. He researched neighborhoods, tracked prices, spoke to a mortgage broker 18 months before he was ready to buy. At 32, Ryan bought his first property. 2-bedroom apartment. Not perfect, not impressive. Priced below what he could afford. Entirely his. Simultaneously, he expanded his ETF portfolio into 2 new positions. VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market. Expense ratio 0.03%. Owns over 4,000 U.S. companies. VNQ, Vanguard Real Estate ETF. Expense ratio 0.13%. Real estate exposure without a second down payment. Ryan's portfolio split at 35. SCHD $400 per month, VTI $300 per month, VNQ $150 per month. Portfolio value at 35. SCHD $137,523, VTI $36,285, VNQ $16,817. Total $190,625. Property equity $44,000. Net worth at 35, $234,625. Ryan had built more real wealth between 28 and 35 than in all previous years combined. Not because he earned dramatically more, because the foundation finally had something solid to compound on. Age 35 to 50, from stability to wealth. At 38, survival stopped being a relevant concept. Ryan started asking a different question. Not, how do I protect what I have, but how do I make what I have work harder? He took on a freelance consulting project for 8 months. Every dollar went directly into a second property fund. At 41, he bought a rental unit. Monthly rental income covered the mortgage plus surplus. He added one more ETF to his portfolio. QQQM, Invesco Nasdaq 100. Expense ratio 0.15%. 10-year average return over 18% annually. Ryan's complete portfolio at 44. SCHD $500, VTI $400, VNQ $200, QQQM $300. Total $1,400 per month. Portfolio value at 44. SCHD $552,140, VTI $188,175, VNQ $77,442, QQQM $79,853. Total $897,610. Property 1. Equity, $142,000. Property 2. Equity, $67,000. Total net worth at 44. $1,106,610. Ryan lived through the 2020 market crash, watched his portfolio drop 34% in weeks, did not sell a single share, bought more. Because by 41, Ryan understood something most people never learn until too late. Market crashes are not emergencies for patient investors. They are sales. His lifestyle had not inflated proportionally to income growth. Sensible car, same first property, now significantly paid down. Most meals at home, not deprivation. Clarity. Freedom required money deployed strategically, not performed socially. Age 50 to 60. The system pays you back. At 52, Ryan did the math. ETF portfolio, $2,448,434. Property equity, $390,000. Retirement, $312,000. Total, $3,150,434. Monthly dividend from SCHD, $4,090. Rental surplus, $1,200. Total passive income, $5,290 per month. Monthly expenses, $3,800. His passive income had crossed his expenses, the line most people spend their entire working life trying to reach. Ryan crossed it at 52. He kept working, but differently. Only projects that energized him. A month off without panic. Helped his son with a property down payment without it hurting anything he had built. At 58, Ryan retired. Not because he had to, because he chose to. Because the system he had been building since he was a 22-year-old cutting up a credit card over a kitchen sink had quietly, completely worked.
The sequence, complete.
18 to 22. HYSA, Emergency Fund First. 22 to 28. SCHD, Income Layer plus Buffer. 28 to 35. VTI plus VNQ, Growth plus Real Estate. 35 to 50. QQQM, Acceleration Layer. 50 plus. System pays you. You choose. Total contributions over 40 years, Ryan invested $414,000. Portfolio generated $2,034,434. Ryan contributed 17%. System did 83%. That is not luck. That is sequence. That is what happens when you build each layer at the right time, in the right order, and leave it alone long enough to work. Ryan started with $34 a month into a savings account he pretended did not exist. That is the whole secret. Start where you are, follow the sequence. Keep it simple. If this helped you see your own financial journey differently, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one. Keep it simple.